Ferraris, yachts, and mansions. These are luxuries, but I don't think they're even close to the best luxury. Want to know what the greatest luxury in the world is? One I paid millions of dollars to have? Then you have to check out today's video.
He is a best-selling author.
30-year-old Jason Fieber has a plan.
This guy retired at only 33 years old.
I don't know if I know too many people that have accomplished something like that.
He's really kind of a guru when it comes to passive income.
Before I get into today's content, please give us a big thumbs up if you find value in our videos. Helps us to get the word out, grow the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. There are so many ways to spend your money nowadays. You can pull out your phone, click out a button, and have almost anything shipped to your home within a day or so. You can look at that as a good or a bad thing. Convenience is certainly nice, which in and of itself is a luxury. On the other hand, temptation can make it difficult to save and invest. Delayed gratification simply isn't interesting for most people. You also have these people on Instagram and other social media platforms showing you only their best moments. It's like a highlight reel of life, skipping anything unimpressive. You see beautiful island resorts, private jets, sports cars, tailored clothing, etc. So many luxuries out there to covet, right? Well, I'd argue there's one luxury that's clearly above all the rest. It's a luxury that I think is so valuable, I paid millions of dollars to have it. Let me tell you all about it. When you think of luxuries, you might think of objects at first. A nice car, a mansion, maybe even a private jet. But the greatest luxury in this life is not a thing at all. In my opinion, the greatest luxury you can possibly have is the complete ownership of your time. I'm talking about financial freedom. It's about owning your time rather than owning things. There's nothing in this life worth owning more than your time. When you buy a bunch of stuff you can't afford, which means you have to spend a lot of your time working in order to pay for these things, you're a slave to it all. It's indentured servitude, guys. That sports car with the big monthly note, it owns you. The mansion with a jumbo mortgage, it owns you. The boat that sucks your bank account dry, it owns you. Unless you can already easily afford the things in your life without having to work for any of it, you do not yet possess the greatest luxury in life. This luxury is so amazing, so desirable, so valuable that I paid millions of dollars to have it. You might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. Check this out. I used to work at a car dealership as a service advisor. My role was acting as a liaison between the customer and the technician, taking care of paperwork, managing workflow, compiling estimates, and making sure concerns were satisfactorily resolved. Working 60 hours per week left me absolutely exhausted. I was in my early 30s, but I sometimes felt like I was in my early 50s. Well, I quit that job in 2014 at 32 years old, retired from the auto industry, and made moves that would allow me to own all of my time. Keep in mind, I was on pace to make somewhere around $60,000 back in 2014. That was more than 6 years ago, and I'm sure I'd be making even more money today. But let's assume I never received another raise for the rest of my life. If we say I would have instead worked in that industry along a normal career track all the way until I was 62 years old, that would have been 30 more years of earning $60,000 per year. That's $1.8 million right there. Admittedly, I'm talking gross income instead of net income for the sake of simplicity, but that's assuming no raises for 30 years. And that's before factoring in the compounding of all of that income, which certainly would have been playing out as I saved and invested all of that extra income. Let's now say I save and invest half of that annual income over a 30-year time frame. That's saving and investing $30,000 per year, giving up a lot of the gross income to taxes and the cost of actually commuting to and from work. Starting from zero, investing $30,000 annually and getting a 10% annual rate of return over 3 decades, I end up with just under $5.5 million. Again, that's assuming no pay raises. Had I stuck with the job, I'm positive I'd be making more than $60,000 per year by now, let alone 10 or 20 years into the future. Honestly, I'm pretty confident that my net worth would already be at least $500,000 higher than it is right now. But I knowingly and happily gave up millions of dollars in order to have complete ownership of my time. That's how much I value this luxury. After all, life is very short. Time is the most valuable thing we have. It's limited and quickly dwindling, and it cannot be physically purchased. To cheaply sell off chunks of this time in order to buy things that probably aren't going to make you happy, especially if you're too busy to enjoy it all because you're working so much to pay for the lifestyle lifestyle. It just doesn't make any sense. So the next time you see someone on social media with a luxury car or a beautiful mansion, think for a second about that. When I see someone driving around a really expensive car, I don't envy them. I actually pity them because I know they're most likely on their way to some job they don't enjoy very much. Meanwhile, I own the greatest possible luxury I could think of. I own my time, something that you can't go out and buy. It's really the ultimate luxury because it's so expensive and so few people own it. It's very exclusive. Even people you might think are rich because of the stuff they flash around don't usually own their own time. They're often in debt and still slaving away in order to keep up the lifestyle. Sure, time might not be something I can easily show off on social media, but it's by far the most awesome thing I've ever owned. I can tell you that for sure. I'm able to do exactly what I want, when I want, where I want, why I want, with whom I want. That kind of freedom and autonomy is priceless. It truly is. I'm my own boss. I get to spend all of my time on the projects and with the people I truly love. And I'm very happy. The empowerment that comes with freedom and the ability to say no to things I don't like is an incredible source of happiness in this world. Now, I'm not sitting on the beach all day. That would bore me to death. Instead, I spend a lot of my time on bettering myself physically, mentally, and financially, all while also working on projects that I hope inspire others to better themselves. Owning this amazing luxury is possible by living below your means and intelligently investing your capital. You can't own your time unless you're in a position to quote-unquote buy your time by covering your expenses with passive income. Financial freedom is the key to it all. There are a lot of ways to achieve financial freedom. There are a lot of passive income types. I personally invest in high-quality dividend growth stocks, and I rely on dividends to cover my expenses. This is my favorite approach because of the passivity of dividends. Once I own a stock in a great business, I collect my dividends without lifting a finger. It's fantastic. And these dividends are routinely increasing year in and year out, giving me quote-unquote pay raises to offset slowly rising expenses from inflation. Make sure to follow the channel as we routinely make videos on some of the best long-term investment opportunities in the dividend growth space. And don't be discouraged. Don't go around thinking you can't do this. We put out a video not long ago showing you how to build a $1 million portfolio from scratch, even on a very middle-class income. I achieved financial freedom in my early 30s, even though I grew up on welfare in Detroit, don't have a college degree, and never had a high-paying job. If you save and invest your capital correctly, you too can have financial freedom and own the greatest luxury of all.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Give us a like if you did. Let us know in the comments what you think is the greatest luxury of all. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on new content. Also, take a look at the description box below for some important links, including the link to my personal stock portfolio. This six-figure portfolio, which I call the Fire Fund, generates enough passive dividend income for me to live off of. It allowed me to retire in my early 30s. I've made my portfolio entirely accessible over at Patreon, and I also post alerts there whenever I buy or sell a stock. I put my money where my mouth is and am often invested in the same high-quality dividend growth stocks that I make videos on. Over the years, I've heard from thousands of investors who've been profiting from many of the same exact stocks that I own. So if you think this is something that you could benefit from as well, check the link in the description to see my portfolio and start getting my buy and sell alerts. I'll see you next time.